Hello, checking in. Oh, it's been a bit. Um, yeah, we were. My hair is like creeping shorter and shorter. I always look at it and I go, "Oh, that's just lovely." Oh well, I'm not going to talk about that today. Let's just not. Let's just act like it's not there. We were getting ready to enjoy a quiet lunch with some friends after church when I snarkily said, "It's time to open up the curtains," because you see, my husband likes to close the curtains. And my husband, also thought it would be funny to tell our friends that the only reason I want the curtains open is so I can spy on the neighbors. Well, sometimes that's a good thing. I opened the blinds, went to the kitchen to make lunch. My friend asked my husband, "Hey, what are your neighbors doing over there by your roses?" So I have a white vinyl fence that goes around my yard, and on the outside, about 2 feet wide, I have roses and tiger lilies, and they're beautiful, and I love them. And they were really interested in the plants for some reason. And Terry just goes, "Oh, they're probably just smelling them." She's like, "No, they're walking back and forth and back and forth and back and forth." And I looked out there. Sure enough, two different neighbors are out there. Here comes the third one. Now there's three neighbors out there. What's going on? So I called my husband and I sent him out. I'm like, "Go figure out what's going on." And he didn't come back. I'm like, mm-hmm. So I went out there and he was leaning there talking, and come to find out, the neighbor behind us woke up to no water. And we have a communal well. There's 10 of us on the well together. We share it. So he figured since we had water and he didn't, he must have a broken water main. And sure enough, there was a swimming pool going on at the bottom of our road. And it was kind of obvious where the line was broken, and he started digging, and that was why he was in my roses. He was digging my roses, my tiger lilies. He was digging and digging. He got about 2 feet down, and he's like, "It's coming from under the fence." I'm like, "Well, don't undermine the cement curb that goes there, because that will tick me off if you break my cement curb." Ended up, they had to dig into my yard about 2 feet in. It was a pretty decent hole. But it was funny because he goes, can I dig in your yard?" I'm going to say no to that. Evidently, somebody before that lived here would have said no to that. And flip side is, Terry went out there and started helping him dig. They ended up digging like a 2 by 1 by 2 foot deep hole. They located the water line, and it was on top of the sewer line, which is common. They put a water line on top of the sewer pipe. But the sewer pipe had one of those like drain outs or clean outs on it. So the water pipe was on it like this, and something had sagged and it went like that, and right across here it snapped. It was a really weird place for a clean out, especially in my yard, but whatever. So he dug it up and he patched it and he fixed it, and he actually put my grass back together really nicely, to the point where you can't even hardly tell that they dug it up. It was hot. It was 102 degrees that day. So the grass is a little brown, but it's totally fine. I was in the backyard cleaning up brush from yesterday when he walked back to let me know he was all done. And he wanted to make sure that I came out and I approved his repair job of my grass. It's grass. He did an amazing job. So I told him I was sure it was fine, but he insisted that I walked out there and looked with him. And yeah, I told him, I'm like, "It's fine, totally fine." He drove by this morning. So it was yesterday, the day before. Anyways, he drove by this morning and he told Terry how much he appreciated the help and the willingness to let him come into our yard and dig it up. And I'm sorry, but that's just being neighborly. You should do those things for your neighbors. Neighbors should pull together and help each other and not be obnoxious and a burden. These are our quiet neighbors. They drive slow on our shared driveway. They wave or say hi when they pass. For the most part, they stay to themselves. Perfect neighbors. We have neighbors that right next to us, and they're quiet too. They have a baby and they have kids, and I don't mind them. And I've told the kids several times, if you accidentally throw your ball in my yard, feel free to come in through the gate and get it. Just make sure you close the gate when you leave. And they're great with it. They're totally amazing. I'm so thankful to live in the neighborhood that I live in, because just down the street, there's some obnoxious neighbors whose dog goes and poops in everybody's yard. Granted, I am the only one who has a fenced front yard, because the lady that lived here before didn't want their poop in her yard. And one of our neighbors' dog was creeping in. It was kind of irritating, but she's too big to fit through the fence now. But I just don't understand some people's need to be nasty. It's so much nicer to have kind neighbors and be friendly with them and helpful with them and work with them instead of fighting against them. Anyways, that was me for today. Life's just going. We had a nice lunch with our friends and hung out, and yeah, easy peasy. It's better to be nice to people and treat them well than be nasty. If you're going through this life, I mean, make friends, not enemies along the way. You never know. It's like Terry and I were talking. You never know when you might need help from one of your neighbors. And the neighbor that we helped, he's always been there when we needed him in a heartbeat. He'll drop what he's doing and come over. So, yeah, help your neighbors. Be neighborly. Be kind. Here's to a healthier, happier you and me.